The subscriber who found my address, a true online stalker story. This happened 2 years ago. I'm Jada, 28, born and raised in Baltimore. At that time, I was juggling two jobs, working front desk at a gym during the day, and posting on OnlyFans at night. I didn't start it for fame. I started it because rent was high and I was tired of choosing between keeping my lights on and eating something that wasn't ramen. At first it was low-key, faceless content, nothing wild. I made sure to keep everything private, no names, no background shots, no geotags. I thought I was careful, but I was wrong. It was a Thursday night and around 11:30. I just finished recording a short clip. The glow from my ring light was still bouncing off the blinds. My skin was slick with sweat. I was half dressed and dead tired. Then I noticed a DM. It was from a subscriber named King of Charm City. Now I'd seen his name before. He'd been subbed for about 3 months, always tipping heavy, always dropping comments that felt too personal. Stuff like, "You look familiar. I know them streets in your vids. Bet you somewhere near North Ave." I brushed it off. People talk slick online all the time, right? I figured he was just another thirsty dude behind a screen, but that night, his message said, "Don't forget to lock your door this time." My stomach dropped. I froze. For a moment it felt like the air in the room thickened, pressing in on me from all sides. My mind raced, trying to make sense of what was happening, but my body wouldn't move. I was paralyzed by a sudden, overwhelming sense of dread. I hadn't posted any live stories. I hadn't shown my door. I was always careful about what I shared online, making sure not to reveal any details about where I lived. I double-checked every photo, every video, making sure nothing could give away my location. So how could anyone possibly know where I was or what my apartment looked like? My window, nothing. I glanced at the glass, searching for any sign that someone might be watching from outside, but all I saw was my own reflection staring back at me, wide-eyed and tense. The city lights flickered in the distance, but there was no movement, no shadow lurking in the darkness. So how would he know whether my door was locked or not? The thought sent a chill down my spine. I turned toward the front door. Deadbolt, locked, chain, on. I always made sure to secure everything before bed, a habit drilled into me by years of living alone in the city. Still, I found myself checking again, my hands trembling as I touched the locks, needing the reassurance that I was safe inside. Still, I checked. Then I walked over to the window again and peeked out. My heart pounded in my chest, each beat echoing in my ears as I scanned the street below, searching for anything out of the ordinary. The room behind me felt impossibly silent, as if the world was holding its breath. My block was quiet. You could hear the hum of my freezer in the kitchen and some drunk dude laughing to himself. The familiar sounds of the city at night, usually comforting, now felt distant and strange. The streetlights cast long shadows across the pavement, and every little noise made me jump. But then I saw him. Someone was leaning against a light pole across the street. He was just standing there, perfectly still, almost blending into the darkness except for the faint glow of the street lamp above him. My breath caught in my throat. Hoodie up, phone in hand. He wasn't moving, wasn't smoking. He didn't look like he was waiting for anyone or just passing time. There was something deliberate about the way he stood there, as if he had a purpose, as if he was waiting for something or someone, wasn't scrolling, just standing there. The phone in his hand was dark, not lit up, not being used. He wasn't distracted, wasn't fidgeting. He was just watching, or at least that's how it felt. And I couldn't tell if he was looking at me, but I felt it. That prickling sensation on the back of your neck, the one that makes your skin crawl and your instincts scream that something isn't right. I tried to convince myself it was just my imagination, but the feeling wouldn't go away. That heavy heat in your chest when you just know you're being watched. It's like your body knows before your mind does, every muscle tensing, every sense on high alert. I could feel my pulse racing, my breath coming in shallow bursts, as if my body was preparing to run or hide. I backed away from the window, killed the lights. The room plunged into darkness, and I stood there listening to the silence, trying to convince myself that I was safe. But deep down I knew that something had changed. I wasn't alone anymore. Someone out there was watching me, and I had no idea why. Then my phone buzzed. Another message. You look good when you scared. Then another. That couch behind you. Gray leather, right? Then another. You don't answer DMs no more, but I'll see you soon. That was it. I panicked, blocked him, reported the account, but 3 days later I woke up to a new subscriber. Different username, same tone. I miss seeing your window light up. My heart started pounding like I was running. That day my hands were shaking as I dialed my cousin Mason. I remember staring at the numbers, my mind racing, heart pounding in my chest. I didn't know what else to do, but I knew I needed help, and Mason was the only person I could trust in that moment. Mason's a big dude, 6'3", built like a linebacker, and he works security at the Horseshoe Casino downtown. He's the kind of guy people don't mess with, always alert, always ready. He's seen it all on those casino floors, and nothing rattles him. He don't play about family. If you're blood, he's got your back, no questions asked. That's just how he is, loyal to the core and fiercely protective. When I told him what happened, he didn't hesitate. He came through that same night, moving with purpose, his Glock on his hip. He sat down in my living room, eyes scanning every shadow, and said, "Pack a bag, Jay." His voice was calm, but I could feel the urgency. "We ain't sleeping here tonight." I didn't argue. I just started throwing clothes into a suitcase, my mind numb, adrenaline still surging. I could tell by the look in Mason's eyes that this was serious. While I packed, Mason got to work. He pulled up the building cameras from the front door feed, his fingers moving quickly over the keyboard. He wanted to see if anyone had been lurking around, if there was any sign of trouble. What we saw on that screen made my blood go cold. Faces in the shadows, movements that shouldn't have been there. In that moment, I realized just how real the danger was. I came back home a few days later, but it wasn't the same. Every night for a week straight, right around 11:30, the same man appeared across the street, always under that same flickering streetlight. It was almost like clockwork, as if he was following some ritual only he understood. The street would be empty, silent, except for the occasional car passing by, but there he was, illuminated by that unreliable bulb, casting long, shifting shadows on the pavement. Always the same spot. Sometimes he'd pace back and forth, his footsteps echoing in the quiet night. He'd walk a few steps one way, then turn and retrace his path over and over like he was waiting for something or someone. The way he moved made it seem like he was restless, agitated, unable to settle. Other times he just stood there, completely motionless. He'd stare straight ahead, barely blinking, as if he was lost in thought or maybe watching something only he could see. It was unsettling the way he could go from pacing to absolute stillness in an instant. But on the last night, everything changed. He crossed the street. Step by step, he walked right up to my building, his face hidden in the shadows. My heart was pounding as I watched from my window, not sure what he was planning to do. He pressed his face against the glass front door, so close I could see the outline of his features. His breath fogged up the window, leaving a ghostly mark that lingered long after he pulled away. For a moment, it felt like he was searching for something or someone inside. Then he just stood there, staring through the glass, not moving, not saying a word. The silence was suffocating. I felt trapped, unable to look away, wondering what he wanted and why he kept coming back. The next day we took the footage to the police, hoping they'd see how disturbing it was. We showed them every second, every detail, expecting them to take it seriously. You know what they said? Until he actually does something, it's just trespassing. That's all they could offer. No real help, no sense of urgency, just a technicality, just trespassing. Like me being terrified in my own damn apartment didn't count as something. Like the fear, the sleepless nights, the constant anxiety. None of it mattered until he crossed some invisible line. But to me it already felt like too much. I deleted my OnlyFans account that night, moved out 2 weeks later. Now I don't film at home. I keep blackout curtains, cameras inside and out, and I don't post anything real time ever. But sometimes around 11:30 I'll wake up out of nowhere. The apartment will be dead silent, and I'll swear I hear somebody knocking just once, not loud, not angry, just checking like he's wondering if I'm home. Real horror doesn't need monsters, just people. What did you find the creepiest in this story? Please let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more twisted true horror stories from the YouTube channel Sites of Horror. The Manager Who Wouldn't Leave, Urban Horror Story, Sites of Horror. This happened when I was 26. My name's Tierra, and I live on the south side of Chicago, right off 79th. At that time, I was just trying to survive the pandemic like everybody else. The salon I worked at had closed down, and my bills weren't about to wait on a miracle. So I did what a lot of women quietly did back then, even if nobody really talked about it out loud. I started an OnlyFans. It felt like a secret club, something you only whispered about to your closest friends, if at all. Now, I ain't going to sit here and pretend I was wilding out or doing anything too crazy. I wasn't. I kept it pretty tame, honestly. It was just modeling type pics, mostly lingerie, a few spicy ones here and there if it helped pull in subscribers. I tried to keep it classy, nothing I'd be ashamed of later. I told myself it was temporary, just until the salon reopened, just until things got back to normal. I kept a calendar, counting down the days, hoping it wouldn't be for long. But after a few months, I was making more money from my phone than I ever did behind a chair, and it started to feel like maybe this could be more than just a side hustle. Tips didn't even compare. That's when I met Carter. He hit me up through Instagram. Said he was a manager who specialized in marketing, SEO, building brand visibility, all that slick talk. He was charming, smooth, the kind of man that makes you forget to keep your guard up. Tall, nice smile, always smelled good. He knew exactly how to talk. Slow, confident, like he already had you figured out. Before I knew it, we were working together, then hanging out, then hooking up. At first, I thought he was genuine. He helped me rebrand my page, tweaked my captions, handled promos. I'll admit, business was booming, but slowly he started changing. It wasn't a switch, it was a slide, like he was peeling back layers of himself I wasn't supposed to see. He started saying he needed access to my accounts for promotions. Then came the partnership talk. He wanted half my earnings, half. Then he started referring to my page as our business, and when I tried to push back, he got cold, real cold. That night I heard something at my door. Not a knock, not footsteps, just the slow, careful sound of a key sliding into my lock. I froze. I'd changed the locks right after I moved in a year ago. How the hell? I crept up quiet, heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my teeth. The handle twisted. I grabbed the kitchen knife, waited, nothing, just silence thick enough to choke on. But a month later, when the city was asleep and the streets were quiet, one of my old followers unexpectedly DM'd me a link that caught my attention. It led to a new OnlyFans account that seemed eerily familiar. The content was identical to mine. Same poses, same tattoos, everything was a mirror image. But it was all under a completely different username, one I didn't recognize. At first I thought maybe somebody had stolen my content, a common fear in the digital age. But as I clicked through the posts, examining each one closely, I realized it wasn't just stolen, it was meticulously replicated. Carter had downloaded everything, every single file, every backup I had ever made, every private photo I'd never even uploaded. He'd screen recorded my videos, recreated my captions with precision, and even used an AI voice clone, mimicking my voice perfectly, to read out custom messages to unsuspecting subscribers. I was watching myself talk, flirt, breathe, as if it were a reflection. And yet it wasn't even me, it was a digital ghost, a haunting replica. I reported it, filed a police report, even hired a lawyer, but the fake page stayed up for weeks, and by the time it was finally taken down, it was too late. People had already seen it, saved it, shared it. That explicit version of me was out there forever. It's crazy how silence can be louder than noise. In the stillness of the night, every creak and whisper seems amplified, echoing through the empty rooms. After all that, I stopped answering unknown numbers, stopped posting selfies, stopped feeling safe. My online presence faded, but the unease lingered. And it wasn't just online anymore. The fear seeped into my everyday life, shadowing my every step. One night I was coming home from the corner store. The streets were eerily quiet, the kind of quiet that makes you feel watched. It was late, around 11. The city felt like a ghost town with only the occasional car passing by, street lights flickering, sirens in the distance, wind pushing trash down the block, and there he was, like a shadow come to life. A figure leaning against the streetlight across from my building. His presence was unsettling like a dark omen. Tall, hood up, his face obscured, adding to the mystery and fear. Didn't move when I looked at him. His stillness was unnerving, as if he was waiting for something. I went inside fast, heart racing. My mind was a whirlwind of anxiety and fear. But when I looked out my window 10 minutes later, he was gone. The street was empty, but the fear remained. I keep telling myself it wasn't him, Carter, that maybe it was just somebody waiting on the bus or a neighbor smoking. But sometimes, late at night when I'm half asleep, I still hear it, that sound, a key turning in my door. As I was dealing with all this, I never saw Carter again. He just ghosted me. And that's when I remember what Ms. Laverne told me that morning. She said, "Baby, sometimes the scariest thing ain't what's outside your door. It's who you let inside first." Think that was disturbing? Trust me, it only gets worse from here. Subscribe to the YouTube channel Sights of Horror and keep your lights on tonight. The Airbnb setup, Atlanta's Urban Nightmare, True Horror Story. This happened last year in Atlanta. My name's Nia. I was 25, just trying to get my life together after a breakup and a layoff. You ever hit that point where you're not broke, but you're hanging on by a thread? That was me. Bills were stacking up, rent creeping higher, and that job at the salon wasn't cutting it no more. So when my homegirl suggested I try OnlyFans, just to make a little extra, I figured why not? It wasn't about going viral or getting rich. I just needed breathing room. But I wasn't about to film in my apartment. Everybody in my building nosy as hell. Old ladies on the porch, neighbors peeking through blinds like they getting paid for it. So I started booking Airbnbs, just one-night stays, clean, quiet, private spots where I could shoot my content and dip out. And it worked, for a while, until that one night. It was early fall, humid night, light rain misting the city. I'd found this little studio downtown near Peachtree. Looked perfect. Modern design, gray walls, open layout, floor-to-ceiling windows with the skyline glowing behind them. The host's name was Darren. Dozens of 5-star reviews, all saying he was responsive, friendly, and respectful. Check-in was self-entry. He sent me the code. I got inside around 7. The place smelled like fresh linen and Lysol. Clean towels folded tight, nice setup. I laid my bag down, unpacked my tripod, ring light, and wardrobe bag, then got to work. Just me, a bottle of wine, and my playlist going low in the background. By 9 o'clock I was sweating but satisfied. I wrapped up, threw on a hoodie, and went to grab food from the Waffle House up the street. When I came back, something felt off. You ever walk into a room and immediately feel like somebody been in there? That's what hit me. The curtains I know I'd closed were slightly open, my phone charger, unplugged, lying on the bed. At first I brushed it off. Maybe I did it without thinking. I'd been moving around a lot, but as I sat on the edge of the bed scrolling through my phone, something in my peripheral caught my attention. The smoke detector. It had a tiny red light blinking inside, not steady, pulsing. I frowned, thinking maybe it was the battery or Wi-Fi connection or something, but curiosity got me. I grabbed a chair, climbed up, and popped the cover off. Inside wasn't a smoke detector, it was a camera, tiny black lens, wires neatly tucked inside. That's when my stomach dropped. I froze for a second just staring at it. Then survival mode kicked in. I snatched my bag, started packing everything fast, my shoes in hand. Didn't care about the clothes, I just needed to get out. I had my hand on the doorknob ready to leave, but the second I opened it, he was standing right there. Tall dude, bald head, wearing all black. He smiled, slow, like he'd been waiting. "Hey, you're Nia, right?" He said it calm, like we'd met before. Then he added, "You left something in the bathroom." That's when it hit me. He knew my name. I slammed the door in his face and locked it so fast the handle rattled. My hands were shaking as I grabbed my phone and dialed 911. But before the operator could even answer, I heard it, the sound of a key sliding into the lock. My whole body went cold. I backed up, heart pounding, scanning the room for anything I could use as a weapon. 3rd floor, no balcony, windows sealed shut, trapped. The lock turned slow, metal scraping, echoing in the silence. Then the door creaked open. He stepped inside, quiet but heavy, each boot thudding against the laminate floor. "I just want to talk," he said, voice low. I crouched behind the couch, gripping my tripod like a baseball bat. I could see his reflection in the window glass, his silhouette moving closer, scanning the room. When he took one more step, I launched the tripod straight at his face. It cracked loud, and he stumbled, cussing hard. I didn't wait. I bolted, ran straight past him, barefoot, out into the hallway. I took those stairs like my life depended on it. 3 flights, no stopping. My heart felt like it was trying to punch through my ribs. By the time I hit the lobby, I was crying and yelling for help. The night clerk looked terrified, called the cops immediately. They got there about 10 minutes later. By then, the man was gone. Cops searched the unit, and what they found made me sick. It wasn't just one camera. There were multiple. Smoke detector, alarm clock, even one hidden in the vent above the bed. When they traced the listing, the host's profile was already deleted. Listing, gone. Pictures, gone. Darren didn't exist anymore. The officers told me it's more common than people realize. Hidden camera setups in Airbnbs, fake hosts, black market streams. They took the devices, said they'd investigate, but that was the last I heard. They never found the footage or the guy. I don't rent Airbnbs anymore. I can't. Even now, a year later, if I see a tiny red light blink in the dark, whether it's my TV, my rotor, or even a smoke detector, my stomach knots. Because I keep thinking about that night, how that man said my name like he already knew me, and how someone somewhere might still be watching. Be careful where you stay, 'cause in this city privacy ain't promised. Think that was disturbing? Trust me, it only gets worse from here. Subscribe to the YouTube channel Sites of Horror and keep your lights on tonight.